Hear the music, or do you
only
hear it in the
here.
headphones?
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Rhino and the Dude.
I'm the Rhino.
And I'm the Dude, and today we're joined by Starfish's grandfather. Father.
Dad.
Dang, I just aged him. Starfish's dad, John Irwin. Before this episode gets going, it is brought to you, as you know, by the Podcast Lab. If you're looking to record a podcast, come here and record it. We can help you out. Also brought to you by Eddie Dowd Real Estate, because these podcast labs ain't cheap. We need to keep this podcast going, so buy a house with me, because if you ain't renting the podcast, we need to keep the lights on somehow.
Yeah. Lights are important.
Lo and behold, we are here with Mr. Irwin,
Hello.
Steve's brother.
Oh, you had no relation to Steve?
No.
Oh, damn.
I was going to say, what was
He's the
like
one that's dead from the
Yeah, the one named like
stingfish,
Crocodile Hunter.
starfish, stingfish.
He'd be like, see this crocodile? It can kill me in one bite. I'm going to go kiss it.
You know, keep messing with animals. That's what happens to you.
So,
Sooner or later, they're going to get you.
you are a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
That's correct.
Been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for how many years now?
Since 1998.
1998.
Yes.
Around the time when Starfish was born, I'd say.
Yeah, he was just a little embryo.
Yeah, just a little baby.
Embryo.
Just a little baby.
The little guy.
Also, you fix
Air conditioning.
Air conditionings. Yes. So you keep people cool.
And I'm also a guitar player, and I had a karate school at one time.
Look at this, man.
Travel.
So what side are you on the Cobra Kai? Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, where are you at?
I've never watched it.
Never watched it at all?
No, I've never seen it.
Dang.
That's a good one. Have you watched the Karate Kid movies?
I watched the first one. I was more like Bruce Lee.
Okay, that's fair.
And, Bruce Lee.
Okay.
Raging Bull.
Well, how did you get started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? What was your...
I had a karate school on German Hill Road, and we were doing karate there, and John Irwin was a bouncer at a corner bar. Well, I ended up being a bouncer at. And some kid came in there, and he wanted to use the mats because we were doing judo and aikido. And I said, yeah, you can use the mats. And then I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then when we closed the karate school, we raised the rent, we closed the karate school, and then it was me, John Rilo, this other boy, Cliff, and we were training in a garage. And we were just like had videotapes.
Oh, really?
Well, the kid that came in there wanted to start wanted to use my mat space, stole all my tapes. So, like, he became my nemesis. So, like...
My nemesis.
You know, and like I saw him at the White Marsh Mall one time, and like he saw me, and I like chased him through the mall, and he ended up going to jail. Yeah,
For stealing the tapes?
no.
That's so season 2 of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, this is the real life
He's
Cobra Kai.
Hawk.
But he ran, and he was running some kind of scam, and he was like a total bullshitter. Like
Yeah.
he said he went somewhere and he had 11 fights and all, and it was total lies. And but he did get me started.
Yeah.
You know. And then we were doing the jiu-jitsu in the garage. Like, you know, I went up to when I went to the local bar. John was in there bouncing, and I said, "Why don't you do jiu-jitsu? You know, why don't you come and train?" And then he started coming to the karate school, doing jiu-jitsu with us, and then. We were in a garage, and we would meet, and like it was all his football buddies. So like I was the smallest guy, one of the smallest guys there. They were all like from the football team, and we go to tournaments, and that's where we met Mark. He was a referee at one of the tournaments, and he goes, "What do you guys do?" He goes, "Well, we're like renegades. We don't have any instructor. We just look at tapes and try and do shit in this garage." And he goes, "Well, you want to come and train with me? I'm, Hicks and Gracie." I said, "Yeah." And then, well, that was down at Baltimore Boxing Club. So we were at the Baltimore Boxing Club. And that was the first place that I trained jiu-jitsu, and it was above a strip bar. And that was good times because we were younger, and like after every jiu-jitsu class, we'd hit the bars, and like everyone, we'd walk into places, and it was like John, as big as he is, and his buddies, and it's like, what are these guys, the Ravens? And it's like, no, we're the jiu-jitsu team, and just it was fun back then,
Gotcha.
Wait, so it was strip club, then jiu-jitsu gym on top?
Yes. So there's a strip club below, and then actually one of the bouncers from the strip club started training with us, and I think he made it to purple belt. Suede was his name, and he I don't know whatever happened to him. He was a really good guy,
Gotcha.
but
How have you seen it change? Like, do you think the standards have changed? Like, what is a blue belt then versus blue belt now? Like, what is the...
it's more sport. Like when I first started as a white belt, Mark was a blue belt, I guess. And I was a white belt for a while. And like even when I went to tournaments, people were like, dude, you can't be a white belt anymore. You've been to all these tournaments. And then eventually, like he said, the only way you can get promoted is if you go to Henzo Gracie's school in New York and get promoted. And it was more self-defense. Like we did a lot of things where we put gloves on and we tried to hit each other. Mm-hmm. And like we'd get in each other's guard and like try and really hit each other and wear mouthpieces and stuff. And when I went up to Henzo's, it was informal. He taught some techniques and then he made me wrestle everybody in the class. But then he had professional boxers come in and they put on boxing gloves. And he said, take them down and control them. And like they were trying to knock my head off, And so I would come in like that, get my takedown and take them down.
So you guys are actually drawing takedowns?
Yeah.
Nowadays...
Yeah, well, we always
not
did.
As much.
Yeah, we always did takedowns. And then John met Sean Alvarez, and then he just started going to New York, and he like blew by me because he was staying up there living with them guys. And like Sean Alvarez was like an Abu Dhabi heavyweight champion.
Oh, okay.
At one
He's
time.
from Baltimore originally.
Well, he lived in Abu Dhabi for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I forget who he beat the guy who beat Tim Sylvia in the UFC.
Frank Mir?
No, he wrestled Mark Kerr.
Okay.
In Abu Dhabi.
Who all beat Tim Sylvia? Frank Mir, Randy Couture.
He was a heavy guy with black hair, and he was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
I'm trying to think who all beat Tim Sylvia. I mean, I know him and Andre threw it back and forth. He had Tapology or whatever. Right?
He might have beaten Randy Couture too.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But he was a heavy Brazilian dude. He didn't last long. He was like the heavyweight champ for one fight.
Is it Rico Rodriguez or something like that?
No, he was the guy that fought Randy Couture. He was a kickboxer.
Gotcha.
Pedro Rodriguez or something like that. But that's the guy he fought. He fought Sean Alvarez.
Pedro Hizzo?
Fought Randy Couture.
Okay, gotcha.
He has 31 wins, 10 losses.
Who?
Tim Sylvia?
I mean, he's heavyweight champion of the world for a long time.
I know. I thought his record was a lot worse than that.
Probably 5 of those losses are to Andre Arlovsky. That was nice. That was a nice burp of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's escalated in the headphones. So how did you start going down to? You always are going down to Costa Rica. I was about to say Venezuela.
Well, I knew when I was in high school, like me and these two buddies, we used to like. This is a pretty funny story because like we used to do serious drugs back then.
What's a serious drug?
Well, hallucinogens.
Like mushrooms or LSD?
LSD.
Dang.
And did a lot of crazy stuff, and like we used to follow the Grateful Dead around.
Oh, so you were a deadhead. That's why you were telling Rob that time about...
Well, my buddy, he lives in Costa Rica. His mother was a psychiatrist, and she wrote a book on a book, but like... And his dad was did rheumatoid arthritis. So when we were in high school, we used to hang in his basement, listen to music and do drugs. Well, his mother came down there and she would like observe us and shit. And she was like taking notes. Well, then she published...
Taking notes of her son doing drugs?
Well, then she...
It's like, I don't really care. This is for science. This is going to win me a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, screw my kid.
Well, then she wrote a book called LSD, Gateway to Madness. And we were in the book. We were like the people that were in the book. And well, this guy, believe it or not, is a genius. Like he's super smart. He went to college and he was a lawyer for Normal.
The marijuana.
Yeah. But then because his parents had money, he went to Georgetown University with my other buddy, who I traveled around with all over the place. And they were both kicked out of college and barred from the university for life. Mm-hmm. And well, he ended up, I guess when his parents passed, he ended up with some cash, and he moved to Costa Rica 20 years ago.
Gotcha.
And so I go down there all the time, and like, you know, they were like people that have been down there, and I didn't go for it. I started going there 15 years ago, but before then he kept inviting me down. And like one of my buddies lived down there, and he goes, "Wait a minute, you got a friend in Costa Rica who's got a hotel right on the Pacific Ocean, and you won't go down there?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know, man. You know." And then when I ended up going down there,
Exactly, like a starfish, like
yeah. But then there's a jiu-jitsu school down there, and I have a lot of friends down there, and like a little tiny farm down there and stuff. So now it's you know, it's a place to go, you know.
Yeah. Eric?
You want my Andre Arlovsky stats?
Yeah.
Not Andre Arlovsky, Tim Sylvia.
Tim Sylvia.
So, losses. I go back. First loss was amateur to Jorge Rivera.
Jorge Rivera's from around here, right?
It might be a different Jorge Rivera.
No, Jorge Rivera isn't from around here. I'm thinking of Jorge Rivera is the one that's in the UFC. I'm thinking of Dante Rivera.
Then the next loss is Frank Mir. Then Andre Arlovsky. Then Randy Couture. Then Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Fedor Emelianenko. Ray Mercer.
Yeah, Ray Mercer.
He's a boxer.
Mm-hmm. And
he got knocked out in like
Wagner.
2 seconds.
He may have beaten Randy.
It was
Couture.
9 seconds.
He may, the guy that Sean Alvarez may have beaten Randy Couture. But if you look Abu Dhabi, Sean Alvarez, you'll see who I'm talking about.
So you need to stop being shy, and you need to tell the story about the dead dog underneath of your house.
Yeah. Well.
I was like, sorry. I'm looking up the things you guys told me to look up, and then I'm hearing about dogs under houses. What's going on?
We have a student called mildly retarded Pat.
Okay.
And when he came to the gym, he was a 350-pound, the biggest pussy in the world. And I was so mean to him that you can't even imagine how mean I was to him. It just, and he was just like always, hey, you know, real friendly. And what happened with the dog is that we had a bet, a UFC bet. I forget who it was, probably John Jones or some shit. But I won one bet, and he won a bet, and so his bet was that I take him to the Mexican restaurant. So a week before that, I'm sitting on the couch with my girlfriend, and I take off my shoes, and she's like, "God, it smells like shit." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I take the shoes upstairs, and then I smell the shoes. I was like, "I don't smell anything." So like 2 days later, I walk in the house, and almost knocks me over. I was like, "What the hell is that?" So I look underneath the porch, and there's a dead dog under there, underneath the deck. Like underneath, I got like a root cellar. It's hard to explain. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he goes, "Well, now I want," you know, he won his bet, so he goes, "Take me to the Mexican restaurant." I said, "Well, what do you want?" He goes, "I'm getting the most expensive thing on the menu." I said, "Okay." So he got a crab and shrimp burrito, right? So he eats the burrito. So on the way back from the restaurant, I said, "Well, now it's time for my part of the bet." And he goes, "Well, what's your part of the bet?" And I said, "You'll see." So I handed him his garbage bag, and we drove to my house, and I said, "Look, see that?" And he goes, "What is it?" I said, "It's a dead dog." I said, "Wait." I said, "I want you to get it out of there." He goes, "All right." So he goes on in there and gets it out. Well, he's climbing up the steps, and he's got the dog in the plastic bag. Well, he's giggling and laughing. Well, he falls face first into this dog, and then he just rolls on over underneath this holly tree and starts puking his guts out, right? He's got like maggots on him and shit. And I'm like, I was like, "How's that burrito now, boy?" Right? You know, and he's like, you know, puking and laughing the whole time he's puking. He's just like, we're both just laughing hysterically. But like, that's one retarded pants.
Did he get promoted for that? Because the word on the street is he got promoted he got his blue belt for doing that.
He was a purple belt. I transformed him from a fat pussy into like a murdering berserker. He was too dumb to be afraid. He was like, when he was in his prime, when he got his purple belt, he was like 240.
Yeah.
And ripped and just like ready to kill. And like you go to tournaments and he was just too stupid to be afraid. But the other good story with him is like we were in the one when we were in the broom factory, we were on a wire for something. And I had a big giant hammer drill. So I'm drilling holes with the hammer drill. And I say, go up there and drill this hole. So he climbs up, or he leaves the drill up on top of the ladder, right?
Yeah.
So I come down and I said, never leave a drill on the ladder, no tool on the ladder. And he's like, why? I said, because someone can hit the ladder and the tool will fall on their head.
And kill him.
He goes, well, who's dumb enough to do that? Well, 2 seconds later, he hits the ladder and the drill falls on his head and busts his head wide open, right?
Yeah.
So we're riding home, and I was like, and I'm yelling at him and shit. So we come up to this intersection, and there's this bum laying there in the gutter, right? And he takes this water bottle and he just smashes it on the bum's head. And the bum's like, ooh, right? I was like, what the hell did you do that for? He goes, because you're yelling at me. I said, well, what's he had to do? And he goes, well, I can't beat you up. So I threw the bottle at him. I was like, okay. But he ended up quitting again. He came back for a little while, but he morphed back into the fat pussy again. Like he.
So did you take his purple belt from him? You give him a white
Well,
belt?
the saddest part of the story is when he came back, he had gained so much weight that when he put his purple belt on, only that much like hung out, like he could barely even fit it around his waist. Now I seen him about a month ago, and he lost all the weight again, and he said he's coming back.
Gotcha.
But I don't. A lot of people say they're coming back.
Gotcha. Whew. Poor homeless man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He never did nothing.
Sorry, homeless guy.
Did he ever like repent of that? Like, did he ever go back and you should have made him go back and tell him?
You know what would have really helped that
sorry.
homeless man?
What's that?
If you got to use the podcast lab today, sponsor for this video.
Yeah. What was I going to say? This podcast is also brought to you by the nerds on YouTube. I've had some problems with my computer today. I came in, I went to turn it on, it wouldn't turn on. So apparently with a Dell, you take the battery out, hold the start button for 30 seconds, and then put the battery back in, and it'll turn on. It did like a full reboot and everything. I've had to do it twice today, so hopefully everything works out well.
Okay.
But brought to you by nerds on YouTube. Thank you, computer nerds on YouTube.
I like how we don't have a page or anything. It's just like
computer nerds, just all the nerds.
just nerds.
I wanted to ask you, John, what's wrong with our generation? Like, from your opinion, what's wrong with people our age? Because I'm ashamed to be a millennial.
Just general softness. Just things are different. When I was because I get in arguments with like Kevin from MMA Kevin, right?
Oh, really?
Well, he back when I was younger, the boxers went 15 rounds.
Yeah.
Now they go 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you cannot compare any fighters from this current generation to those guys because they always...
It's a different sport.
They went 15 rounds.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, no, Mayweather, he would have beat everybody. And it's a general, just a softness in general.
Yeah.
I think because, my nephew, I tried to get him to do, he's doing good now, but he was a screw up. But why don't you do heating and air, come to work with me, Well, I want a job where I wear clean clothes. I was like, but you're not doing anything to do that. And it just seems like when I was younger, we did construction, I'm in a trade, but now now it seems people, they want to work like as clerks, like at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Verizon. Like I worked in this house for a couple days with these younger people, and I was just observing them, and they all worked at Best Buy, Verizon Center, and they all played video games. Yeah,
and they're not even making good money doing it either. It's not like they're IT specialists making good money. They're making $30,000 a year to work.
Yeah, and I guess they didn't have shop because when I was a kid, what we did is we built forts.
Yeah.
and rode bikes.
Forts. We rode bikes.
Yeah, and like had ramps and shit. Like we build the ramp because like when I was a kid, Evel Knievel was like a thing.
Yeah.
And like we all wanted to be Evel Knievel, so we were always like trying to do crazy shit on our bikes, jumping. But we had forts, we had guns. Yeah, you know, I grew up kind of in the country, but then when I was a kid, I grew up in Dundalk, then I moved to Harford County. But we all had BB guns.
Yeah.
And bow and arrows and shit. And like we did a lot of hunting and fishing and like shooting fish with our arrows and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think, and we played football, you know, all the time. Like we were never inside.
Yeah.
Never. You know, we'd wake up, jump on our bike. We'd either be playing football, we played wall ball, we had boxing gloves. You know, we wanted to be, I guess we wanted to be like the sports heroes of the time. So we wanted to box, and just
Be like Johnny Unitas and Raymond Barry.
yeah, and Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier.
See, I knew those guys. My dad always talks about Johnny Unitas and Raymond Barry. Apparently, the sideline line was like thin, thin then, and apparently he would run right next to it and reach over the sideline and catch the ball. He always talks about Johnny Unitas and Raymond Barry, and then he saw Johnny Unitas one day, and he's asked him why he threw the game. I guess the one with with the Giants or something that people think he threw back in the day.
Well, the Jets.
The Jets
with Joe Namath. I don't know if he threw it or not, but
I'm sure he's probably tired, of hearing. Well, he's dead now, but I'm sure he's tired of hearing every person in Baltimore be like, "Why'd you throw the game?" It's like I threw an interception, man. It was like
We make mistakes.
Did he throw the game?
I really don't know. I was very young at that age.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't, I remember the one where I think they beat the Dallas Cowboys in overtime, and they couldn't see they kicked a field goal, but you couldn't see the uprights because of the fog.
Oh, okay.
I remember that game.
Gotcha.
And when I was young, we went to the Colt games, but we never paid to get in.
Gotcha.
We snuck in all the time.
Oh, really?
And like my dad, like, this is pretty funny. But, we had tickets from last week's game, and he worked at Bethlehem Steel, and he knew the usher, so we prepaid him, and when we went to the Colts games, we would have a ticket stub, and he would just pretend like he ripped it, but then we didn't have any seats, so we had to like climb all the way up to the top,
Yeah.
and sit there. Well, at one game, like, and we used to drink, like we used to be able to.
How old were you?
Hell, I don't know. In my teens, I guess like 14,
So your dad
15.
was just like, here you go, here's some.
Well,
here's some alcohol.
we go to the bar, and you could bring in coolers with beer. So you go get draft beer, and you could carry your cooler in. So we get drunk as shit at the game. Well, we were in the most rowdiest section of the thing. And like, we're all the way up top. And like my dad got in a fist fight with a Redskins fan.
Oh, really?
And like they called him Dirty Irv because last name's Irwin. Well, he got in a fight with his Redskins fan, and then they handcuffed the Redskins fan. And as they're walking him down the two cops, my dad reached over this wall and sucker punched him while he was handcuffed, right? And I'm like, you just punched a man who was handcuffed. He's a Redskins fan. And I was like, well, you still punched a man that was, and then like,
It's okay as long as
He's a Redskins fan.
yeah, it's a Redskins fan. Get over it. Shut up. What do you want, a pretzel? Shut the hell up. And like he even like the guys he went with, like one of them smacked. What the hell's wrong with you? It's like, I don't know.
They don't have souls.
You guys that. But then what was
Did you hear
funny?
me? He likes the Redskins.
Yeah, it's the Redskins. Deadskins. They call them Deadskins. So then in the Sunday Sun, they had a write-up, and they said how insane that section was where we sat.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that during the game Sunday, I actually seen a man with a Colt jersey punch a handcuffed Redskins fan in the face.
Do you still have the paper?
Huh? No, I
you
wish.
should've
Tell me
saved it.
afterwards, the guy was said, Ed quoted after saying, he's a Redskins fan. That's what we do. Dead skin.
And then, like, the one time we were up there and we were getting drunk and the cop came up. And I had, like, long hair. Because, I was, hippie back then, I guess. But he was like, you little pussy girl. I said, well, fucking, let's drink and we'll see the fucking drink, you know? He goes, I'll drink you. I was like, drink, bitch, drink. So we started like drinking, and he got so drunk. Well, this guy had a heart attack, right? And they were like trying. He was so drunk, he just like fell down like 50 steps, like just rolled down him, and he couldn't even stand up. Like I got him so drunk, and I was laughing. I was like, hey, he's the pussy now, right? You know, but they were good times. And what was funny.
More of the story: the man with the heart attack was a Redskins fan. He doesn't matter.
He was a Redskins
he doesn't
fan
matter.
too.
He doesn't
Right.
exist. He's an NPC, baby.
Was he a Redskins fan?
He had a Redskins
Okay.
jersey.
Because if he was a Colts fan, we'd have a funeral procession for him.
No, we'd save him. But they're just like, let him go. He's a Redskins fan.
But we were in the parking lot one time, and this guy came up, and he had free tickets.
Yeah.
And he gave them to my dad, and my dad just looked at me and goes, shouldn't ripped them up. He goes, we don't even take free. I was like, well, they're free. He goes, it's not the point. We don't pay. We don't. I was like, what?
We sneak in.
Yes, we sneak in.
We sneak in and we assault Redskins fans.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, even
Family
free.
rules.
And then like, he was trying to sell tickets outside one time, and the Steeler fan came up. He goes, I got two, you know. This was when we were older now, so he had, I guess, you know, he ended up buying season tickets, and this was Ravens, so he wasn't a drunk, you know, he didn't drink anymore. But the Pittsburgh fan, well, he goes, I'll buy them. He goes, I'll light them on fire and stick them up my ass before I sell them to you.
The only thing worse is if you were a Redskins fan.
Yeah, it's like, hey, gee, that's nice. Yeah, and then one more football story was pretty funny. We were in there, and the Jets were playing, but they had the Blue Angels too.
Yeah.
Right, so we're before the game, we're eating hot dogs, and like my brother comes up and he's like, Dad, the Jets. And he goes, who gives a fuck about the fucking Jets? And it's like, no, it's the Blue Angels. Oh, yeah, the Blue Angels. Yeah, let's go see the Blue Angels. Yeah, that's a good idea.
He's still got it in him.
Yeah. Like, that's where you get Jets. It's like, no, the planes, Dad, the plane, yeah.
Now, never told the story about my dad with the foul ball.
No.
So my dad is a huge baseball fan my whole life. Mind you, my dad's built like me. He's a Mets fan because I grew up in New Jersey. He's built like me, but like probably 6'3", 6'4", big guy. We're in the stands one game, and it's like a Sunday game. He was like, "You want to go to a game?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm kind of like tired, so I'm sitting there kind of like half asleep in my seat. A foul ball comes to us, and I'm like literally half asleep, sitting there. It's coming right at me. He goes like this, right in front of my face, like catches the ball, but behind us, he's wanted to catch a foul ball like his whole life.
Did he have a glove?
No, it was barehanded. And, like, mind you, we were, like, up. Like, high. So, like, it came up there. He caught it right in front of my face. Turns around and starts screaming. Well, behind him were, like, 3 little old ladies. Like, they were very small, little, petite little ladies. And my dad just turns, like, yeah! And these little ladies, like, horrified. The one woman's, like, I woke up and looked, and I just see that my dad, like, hyped, yelling at this woman, like, falling out of her seat, looking like afraid. He was so excited.
You know what's funny though? I went to a preseason Ravens game. So I'm not paying all that money to go to a regular one. I took my nephews and all. We rode around Baltimore on the little scooters, and then
I saw that.
yeah, and then we went
Did you
there.
hit the ollie?
Get what?
Did you hit the ollie?
The ollie.
Hit some tricks. Show them that 360.
So we did do a race. So I'm gonna tell the story about the race on the scooters. So anyway, we went there, and there was I think they were Redskins fans because we were playing the Redskins. Well, they're not the Redskins. What are they now? The Commanders.
Commanders? No, they can live now though because they're not the Redskins anymore.
Doesn't the Commanders sound like a bad like high school football team? Like, oh, we got an easy one this week. We're playing the Commanders.
Well, that's the name of Biden's dog too. And like after they named him the Commanders,
really?
Joe Biden goes like, now we have 2 Commanders in D.C.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Did you see him the other day when he was like, "No serious guys until you're 30" to that girl?
Yeah. Geez.
It's like, why would you tell a woman that? Like, don't just get messed around on until you're 30. You know, pretty much. No serious guys until you're 30. Okay, great advice, Uncle Joe.
What was the name of the team? Do you remember the movie The Replacements, where like the football team like goes on strike and they call in like, the backups?
And that was supposed to be that was supposed to be in DC.
Yeah, wasn't that team named the Commanders?
But it was filmed in Baltimore. If you watch it,
yeah. But was that team named the Commanders as well?
It might have been
the backup quarterback and the kicker who owed the money, so he like was supposed to miss the kick, and then so the quarterback like runs with the ball and gets a touchdown instead.
I don't know. So
I don't know.
Anyway, we went there.
Sorry.
And there's a Redskins fan. We're still just gonna say Redskins. They're still the Redskins.
No one knows who the Commanders are.
Yeah, nobody knows who the Commanders
They said it the other night when I was watching football, and I was like, "Who?" It still hasn't like processed through my. And I don't watch enough football to process through my brain.
You know how when like a champion leaves the division, like when George St. Pierre left the division, and then you have somebody else as the champion. They could be the champion for 3 years, but you still think, oh, George St. Pierre. And like it takes like, after somebody does that, it takes like 5 years until you're like, okay, this other guy's the champion now.
Like Anderson Silva.
I feel like it's the same thing. So, anyway, Redskins fans, this woman was with her husband, who's the Redskins fan, and I guess she didn't want to be there. So she's sitting there playing like Candy Crush on her phone or something like that. And there's this guy that's drunk as hell that's like sitting right in front of us. And I was like, look, this woman playing the thing. He starts yelling at her. He's like, I can play Candy Crush too. So her husband turns around and his son's there. Husband turns around and like says something to him, and he's like, like they're just cussing back and forth, and the guy's like coming up, and security had to come and separate them.
This is into the game. Is this at the beginning of the game?
Probably like third quarter or something like that. On a preseason game too, so it's not. He's that
like, the Ravens are losing. Time to pick a fight.
So they won, but yeah, he was just like this guy was so mad that this woman was playing the game. He was yelling at him like, "You piece of."
You're mature.
And the son tried to come up and he yelled something at the father. The son really didn't want to fight. Like the son got all in there, and the guy would have went at it with the dad, but they were all trying to hold the dad back. The dad, he would have went at it, but they held him back. But it was like he was walking away. They just kept throwing insults at him. But if he would have beat him up, the Ravens fan was in the wrong. But I guess we had to take his side.
Did she ever stop playing the game, or did she?
Well, they left.
Well, the thing is, you're missing one thing really important about the story, Eddie. He was a Redskins fan.
I know.
He doesn't matter.
So I'm trying to. He's
not real.
I'm trying to get my morals right here. Yeah. So you're telling me that I should have joined in and started yelling. Everybody that's from Baltimore and Ravens fans should have joined in and yelled at them.
Commanders.
You should have jumped straight at that man and drop kicked him down those steps.
Yeah.
And then gave the people's elbow.
Boom.
You're in the wrong. You're the bad guy here.
Yeah, I repent of my ways. Speaking of repenting of my ways, so the story of when we were on the little scooters.
Yes, go back to
Are you guys familiar with the Black Hebrew Israelites?
No.
Somewhat, yeah. They were the ones that were yelling at the engine down at
the engine?
When they were beating the drum.
Is that even? Can you even say that? I don't know if that's.
The
Indian guy.
American.
Okay.
Remember the American
Indian. I know.
Indian,
Nick Sandman.
Yeah. They were. But why was he a Black Hebrew?
No, Nick Sandman was like a Catholic kid that had a "Make America Great Again" hat on. I mean, and he was just sitting there smiling.
What did the American Indian have to do with the Black Hebrews, though?
Well, Black Hebrew Israelites will accept Native Americans. So this is how Black Hebrew Israelites. Black Hebrew Israelites will accept you if you are African American, if you are Mexican or anything Latino or Hispanic, if you're Native American. So anybody that's in the Americas or has been brought to the Americas, they accept. If you're African, you're the devil. If you're white, you're the devil. If you're Asian, you're the devil. So you could be
Caribbean?
No, you're all right because you were brought here. You're a product of slavery. So because they think that Esau was so so good that he found, well, bad that he was able to know all the children of Israel and send them over. So our friend Will, one time, he always used to talk about him.
Will's
So Will, he's a white guy, but his mom's like Puerto Rican. So he was walking with his friend, and his friend was black. So they were yelling at him, and they're like, "Oh, let's mess with him." So they're yelling at him like, you're the devil, blah blah blah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican." He's like, "Oh, okay, you're a part of me." And then his friend is black. Because they were saying, "Oh, you're with us. What are you doing hanging out with this whatever names they're calling him?" He's like, "Oh, well, I'm African." So they started yelling at him because they don't like Africans. So they're like, "Oh, you're one of us now." They're like, "You're the devil."
I'm just thinking of Will being in a group like that and be like, "You're the worst, Toby."
So you could walk up with a black guy, and at first they'll be saying, "Oh, you need to join one of us. What are you doing hanging out with Esau?" And you say you're Puerto Rican, they're like, "Oh, you're part of us." And then he says he's Nigerian, and they're going to start yelling at him. That's how it works. It makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, we were on the little scooters, and we're at the Inner Harbor, and I got my nephews, and we're like, "Oh, let's race on the scooters." Obviously, whoever's the lightest is going to win. So the youngest one's going to win. So we raced at one point, and we had rode by them earlier, and they like yelled a little bit, and
what are they doing sitting there protesting? How do you know they were the?
Oh, they stand out. And they have a sign, like sometimes they'll have a sign with like white women and like in chains because they believe that one day, white people are going to be their slaves or something of that sort. Or I don't know what all they believe, but they have stuff like that.
That's how they're recognizable.
Yes, and they wear like cloaks and purple or whatever different colors.
And pink Nikes.
Oh. You could tell that story.
That's my favorite story of all time.
But anyway, that guy was Muslim.
Finish your story.
That guy was Muslim. Anyway, so we're racing on the scooter. So we raced at one point, and then I was like, "All right, let's race again." I'm like, "All right, let's race to where the people were like out there yelling. Let's ride by them. The first person to get by them." So they had this whole side of the sidewalk and out in this like encampment, about like 20 of them. So my nephew's going, and I'm behind him since I weigh more, obviously, and we're getting up to him. And I thought it was pretty clear, like, the first person to get past him, he goes, and I think thinks that he's going to go in back of him. So the guy comes out with, like, his walking stick, and he's, like, sticking it up, and he's like, "Get out of here. We don't like your type around here." I'm like, you almost, like, ran right into a group of people who think that you're the devil.
Your nephew just, like, took him out there. Like a bowling ball through pins, just, like, took him out.
What if he just, like knocked?
Just took out the whole squad.
The whole squad.
And he just comes out the scooter, he's like...
It's like, you just got knocked. Like, y'all just got knocked out by an 11-year-old on a scooter.
But he also like
he just like drives by, kicks him.
No, he like like with the scooters when you're a kid, you just like step off and like keep running, but like hang it out there. He's like hitting him in the face while hanging it out there. Then jumps back on. He's like, "Shh, you just got scooted, baby." And just...
All right, tell John the story of the.
So years ago,
Caesar.
Eddie was in it was a kickboxing fight somewhere. It was somewhere in Delaware. We go up to watch the fight. We're in the stands. I remember it's me, our friend Will, and our friend Steve. We're sitting in the stands waiting for his fight. Eddie walks out. We're like, "Woo, go Eddie!" Yeah, all that. Eddie's opponent walks out. His opponent, the average dude, but the guy with him is wearing like a robe all the way down his ankles and is psyched as like the most hyped man I've ever seen. But he kept jumping, and he's wearing like bright pink Nikes.
I never knew that he jumped.
Neon pink Nikes. That's how I first noticed that. No, he was jumping and yelling at you the entire fight. So, and this is when Eddie was like training for MMA, but took a kickboxing fight. I just remember in the middle of the fight, Eddie, like, hits like a foot sweep or a double leg, takes the guy down, and like swings a punch, and Eddie's like, "Oh shit, I'm not supposed to do that." And gets up, and the guy's like, "Murder him!" And it's like, but it's this guy in a robe and these pink Nikes, and he's just like, just keeps jumping, and just is like yelling about killing Eddie. Like he's not like,
"I want him dead, Caesar. I want him dead."
Yes.
Hear him yelling?
He's yelling about like murder.
I don't know if I heard him, but I remember.
him.
So I hit the guy with I think a good right hand, and he like kind of got off balance, and I think I saw that he stumbled. And I was like, "Oh, easy." So I think I like kind of touched his leg, and he fell. And I started to go for like ground and pound. Because I remember I like hit the one just out of instinct, and then it's like I could feel my body still. I was like, "No!" no, wrong sport. Like I got out like 3 punches while I'm like trying to tell my body to stop punching on the ground because he hit the ground, and I'm ground and pounding in this kickboxing match.
And like this guy, mind you, is like standing on the ropes and like holding on the ropes, jumping, screaming at me about murder. When the kid gets up, he's like,
yeah, he was on murder him. He was on the ropes. They allowed him to get up. The commissioner allowed him to get up.
You
on the
also
ropes.
took that guy down and punched him in the face like 6 times. Let's just talk about this. Like, you were breaking the rules too, okay?
Not intentional.
Well, yeah, again, not intentional, but you did it. He was standing on the ropes,
disqualified,
yelling at you.
No,
you lost a point, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They took points. They took points. Yeah. When you ground and pound in kickboxing, they take points.
But this guy, I just remember, like for the rest of the, like that was like I think the first round too. So for the rest of the fight, he's just on 100. Like he wants Eddie dead, but also he's jumping, carrying on, like going ridiculous, but in these stupid neon pink shoes, and I don't know why the shoes bothered me so much. Because also you're talking about murdering a man, and you're walking in here like.
Remember Vince from the gym?
Yeah.
Well, he went up to fight at the when he fought the amateur heavyweight fight. Mm-hmm. Well, I was there, right? And they had 3 ring card girls.
Yeah.
And one of the girls had on these shoes, but they had like mirrors on them. I don't even know how to explain it, like a disco ball. Ooh. Right? And she had, well...
Flashy.
About 3 fights in, this cornerman comes up, and he's a man, and he's got the same shoes on as the ring card girl with the disco ball. And like I'm behind him.
Are they supposed to wear like heels or something?
I thought it was just like black shoes.
What, yeah, I guess they do.
The cornerman?
I just figured the ring card girls would be like
yeah, they won't wear heels because I feel like I have seen them wear heels before.
I've had certain places they do,
but I guess it depends because they gotta climb up.
They'll wreck the ring though if they wear heels.
Yeah. And also you don't want that problem them like falling, right? Like I'd worry that like going around the whole cage. I'd be like, oh, they're gonna if they fall.
Yeah, I think they do wear shoes. They wear shoes. I don't know.
I would just figure it'd be black sneakers.
Yeah, something like that. So what happened?
Well, nothing. I just pointed out the fact that he had the same shoes on as the ring card girl. And we got an argument. He goes, they aren't the same. I said, they're the same exact shoes. I said, you got the same exact shoes as that girl over there. He goes, no, I don't. They're different. And I said, look at them. And I said, here she comes. I said, see. And he was just like, get away from me.
And while he was in the corner?
Yeah. I was like...
Also, he's trying to corner, and you're over there like,
I was yelling,
hey, your shoes.
That's what I said. I said, hey, hey, cornerman, you got the same shoes as a ring card girl. And he's like, what? I said, no.
Cornermen that wear girls' shoes and Redskins fans are not John's thing.
What's your opinion of the pink Nikes?
Dude, yeah, what are your opinion on this man?
You got to have some... that's brave...
And the robe down.
It's like a boy called Sue. You're wearing the pink Nikes.
I wish John got to see like the whole of like him just yelling about you getting murdered for like 20 minutes of his life at the top of his lungs. Like mind you, I'm like up in the stands, like in the back, probably like.
And you can still hear him
40 yards away. And I can hear it clear as day.
This guy is a pretty prominent person.
I have no idea who that guy was.
He's known in the world.
Pink shoes.
He's a pro kickboxer.
Okay, well he was wearing pink shoes and a robe, and
he owns a
yelled about you being murdered for a good 15 minutes.
I mean, I guess I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Don't even worry about it.
But I know what Jimmy owns, and I know that he's like respected.
From now on, he's pink shoes.
He called for me to be murdered
for 15 minutes. It was very loud. Me and Will were sitting there, we're like, it's just a kickboxing fight. He just did a little ground and pound. Like,
yeah,
just little. It was like probably 3.
Where was this at?
3 good punches. I think it was Delaware, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like right over the Maryland line.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a YMCA.
Could have been what?
Shot.
Was that the
He
same?
could have been.
You could have been, maybe.
Why?
I don't know. If he kept screaming murder him, someone might have said, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the same gym that had the weird lights too that you fought in?
What do you mean?
They were like orange tinted lights.
Oh yeah, there was like a weird tint.
Like it was like tinted. Like it felt like when you sit in the room, it was like you were like in a like.
I do remember that now that you mention
it. Like a tanning bed. Like the lights were like tinted.
It wasn't like
orange.
It was like hot, but it was. The
room had a weird color to it.
There was a weird color to it because I remember like walking into it. And I'm like, I gotta get used to this. It doesn't feel. It's not like it wasn't well lit. It was a weird
place.
It was like a boys and girls club, so I think maybe
it was a boys and girls club.
Whatever. It was probably like dirty lights that just.
I have no idea. I just remember the lights were like tinted orange, and we were just sitting there like, this is weird. I felt like I was like in a microwave. Or like a toaster oven. You know, like the lights turn orange when you turn it on.
Yeah. Did I have the most memorable like moments that happened around my fights? Would you say?
You got some good ones. Pink shoes is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Almost gave me kicked out of Stellar Fights that one time. We've talked about that a bunch of times on the show. That was pretty memorable. The Put Your Brick in Your Face was pretty good.
Speedo.
Speedo was great. Oh,
I wore some Valley Tudo shorts.
Dude, they rolled up and it looked like Eddie was wearing a little Speedo in there, and people started chanting Speedo. But mind you, Eddie like has the guy against the cage like ground and pounding, and they're chanting Speedo, Speedo, and then the problem is like I'm Eddie's friend and I'm chanting Speedo now. Like I'm in on this. Like it was hype.
And then is that the first time you wore?
I have no idea.
I think so because I had like the logo of the gym and all put on them, so I think they were fresh. I didn't want to mess them up. Yeah, I mean they weren't Valley Tudo. They were the compression shorts that you buy from Walmart probably back then, and I just had the stuff with them.
The logo put on them.
They rolled up, yeah.
They rolled up like
thong,
like whitey tighties.
Yeah.
And like they just started chanting Speedo, and then but the thing was he was killing it, so we were just so excited about it, and everyone just started joining in. we were all like,
you should have ripped them off and threw them into the crowd.
My balls was hot. My balls was hot.
And like lands on someone's head.
My balls was hot.
That was the same day. Your fight in the toaster oven with the guy with the pink shoes was the same day that me and Will did that smoker down in
Yes,
Columbia.
But no, you forgot to mention the fact that day, one of our friends' girlfriends, now wives, got so offended that I was being called Speedo that she went to the security of the event and got the people kicked out.
To be quiet.
No, didn't they get kicked out or something?
I'm not 100% sure because I was part of the crew who was chanting Speedo, and she was not happy with me because I joined in.
I don't understand. And then
I'm pretty sure me and her now brother-in-law might have joined in. I don't remember if he joined in, but I definitely joined in the Speedo chants.
I'm sure Dylan.
I'm like knowing him. If he was doing it, I was doing it. Yeah, I bet both of us
definitely joined in. And afterwards, she comes up to me and she's like, "The people started yelling Speedo while you were fighting, and I got them kicked out." I'm like, "Why would you do that?" I'm in a fight. Like she's like, "That wasn't very nice." And I'm like,
"I've heard worse."
It's a fight.
Was that the fight in the middle of ground and pound? The guy you looked up and went, and kept hitting the guy.
No, I was hitting the guy on the ground, and. His corner was trying to coach him, and they're like, "He's getting tired, John. He's getting tired," and I'm hitting him. And I looked up at the corner because I was right in his corner, and I'm like, "No, I'm not." Just kept hitting him.
That was with the Warrior too?
Yeah, the Warrior.
So while this all happened, they're chanting Speedo. This is the most ridiculous fight outside the ring. Like very normal fight in the ring, but outside the ring, it was weird. Like people were chanting Speedo, girls trying to get people kicked out. This guy's girlfriend is like standing from like me and Eddie. If this were the fights in the cage, she's standing right out of it yelling. And the entire time, I shit you not, she goes, "The Warrior, John! The Warrior! The Warrior!" And like is screaming it.
Remember, John,
yes,
the Warrior!
Remember, John, the Warrior! And then behind it, it's like, Speedo! Speedo! And then you see me in the crowd like, Speedo! And like,
Did you know that they were yelling at you?
And then I never heard the Speedo part, but people were yelling it. I think you can hear it in the tape, but you can't hear it in there. But and then you got somebody trying to get the people kick them out.
And then in the middle of it, she would once in a while go, she's like, "You got him where you want him, the Warrior." Like
I think
it was such a ridiculous.
It was too much Rocky or something that they watched, because I think that's what it was going for. Like think about it. You know, the guy's getting beat up in the movie, and then he's I'm gonna give up.
Story.
I'm gonna give up, and then he hears his girlfriend yelling for him, and then has a flashback. He has a flashback.
The Warrior
of pushing the girls on the swing, and how he told his girlfriend's son that he was gonna win for him, and then he has a comeback,
and then.
The Warrior, John. And he just gets up, rises from the dead, and wins the fight.
Do it for me.
You're the Warrior.
And then that girl was in my inbox.
I forgot about that.
For the next 5 years.
Yes, she messaged. And he goes, the one day we're at the gym, he just like puts his
After I got engaged, she messaged me and said, "Should have been me. You're lost, fool."
Please tell me she did like a shoulder shimmy in there too. Like
No, she didn't do that. But I haven't heard from her. I think she finally found a
Speedo's paid
found a
off.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Speedo paid
Hey,
off.
man.
Somebody
Gotta
did
show off
once
the legs, I guess.
comment on that, and some girl did once comment just out of the blue years later. Some girl must have went through my pictures and she commented. And she's like, "I see something." I'm like, "Well, I did have a couple on."
I forgot because like years that guy was kind of like a joke to us after that fight because all the craziness of that. And Eddie was walked past from the gym. He's like, "Look at DM me." I'm like, I was like, "Is this the warrior? It's the warrior." Did she want you to be her warrior?
Did he have it on his robe? Warrior?
He didn't have a robe.
No, he came out MMA style T-shirt.
I think he came out to
Speedo.
He probably came. I want to say he came out to Disturbed.
Yeah,
Because he
well,
probably was like,
his amateur
indestructible.
Ooh, I was gonna go with what was it, Down with the Cygnus?
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't think she
popular
played Down
one.
with the Cygnus.
That's a popular.
That's probably their most
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah. What's your opinion of Disturbed as a guitar man? They any good?
I guess they're all right. I mean,
Really?
What
I
music
feel like
do you listen
every
to?
song
what
is
do
the same.
I listen to
Yeah, what music do you listen to?
a lot of blues music.
Okay.
I saw B.B. King probably like 30 or 40 times
Oh wow,
in concert.
that's cool. Did you sneak into that too?
No, but
Did you fight Redskins fans there?
we raided the bar. We saw him in this opera house, and a lot of time we were in an opera house, and we were sitting upstairs in the balcony, and they had a bar back there, and we were getting drunk, and my buddy, he
Consider it. John's talking.
well, he can drink. but they cut us off basically because we no more for you, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then they ended up just leaving the bar unattended, and I went out there to take a leak, and I was like, and I just grabbed a case of beer and drug it down to where our seats were and drank for free.
Yeah. That was like I went to this wedding a couple weeks ago, and they cut us off at the wedding, but then we all just went back to the hotel, and the hotel had the bar still open, so then we all just went to the hotel bar right after. Like, they cut out the whole wedding. They're like, "Yep, you guys are done."
We've been cut off a couple times.
Yeah. Well, you got to have some more crazy stories for us. What are you holding back? You're holding something back here.
What do you want?
Well, how's raising the little starfish going?
Yeah, tell us about Starfish.
tell us about
Starfish
Raising
is
the
an
Sun.
ongoing
Yeah, we
thing.
could-
So who all have we had on? We've had Jesse Stern.
Frank,
Frank came on.
Sean Saucer,
Sean came on.
Starfish.
Starfish came on.
friend
The
Steve.
only good story, well, the funny Starfish story I have, I don't. He's my salesman for doing HVAC.
Yeah.
Okay, and for a month he tried to email me, and he couldn't email me, but everyone else is emailing me. And I'm like, why can't you? What? You know? And I said my email is heatpump.com@outlook.com. Well, after a month,
Now everybody knows.
I realized
And Mup.
that he was spelling the word dot.
Wait, what?
Okay, and I'm like, I said, what is my email? He goes, heatpump.com. I was like, yeah, okay. Well, he was doing heat pump. Then he wrote the word dot.
So heat pump DOT.
Right.
Can I text him right now?
And for a month, that went on. And he's like, I said, well, I guess you'll just have to text me shit. You know, but that's the crazy.
Hold on. I'm gonna text it. I'm gonna text him. I'm just gonna text him heatpump.com.
Heatpump.com.
He won't remember. He might.
He won't remember?
A starfish
I'm sure he's
always
heard
remembers. Starfish never forgets.
A starfish never forgets.
Starfish never forgets.
I thought that was an elephant.
Yeah, it is an elephant, but you know what, man?
Heatpump.com.
Yeah. You should have spelled dot.
honestly-
You should have spelled dot.
But did DOT.
DOT, yeah.
Under that, take a selfie with John and see what he says.
Yeah.
Heatpump.com, you and John.
But that went on for a month until, and then eventually he's like, he figured it out. He emailed, did you get it? I said, yeah, thanks. Amazing, And I just kept saying it. I said, what the hell is my email? Heatpump.com.
Yeah. So
So do you feel like you failed as a parent?
If if he was my son, I would have put him in a pillowcase and.
No, Starfish, you're a good guy. I'm just messing around.
You just Oh my gosh! What went wrong with Starfish? What went wrong with Starfish? What do you think?
He's just pampered, but he's coming
Pampered?
along.
You know what, man?
Why is he pampered? Because of his little weird shorts and stuff. Did you see him when he came on here?
He's got a Tesla.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a Tesla? Ooh, man, he's a fancy guy. Classy.
We don't like those Teslas around here.
Oh, sorry. We don't like those Teslas around here.
I don't have nothing against him. He's a good kid.
Did you see him when he came in here?
Well, you asked me
I
to dress
saw
like
him
this.
dressed up like that.
Yeah, like a weirdo, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Look, this guy.
Okay. See, that's why Todd thinks he's weird because that's what he wears to the gym, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if he's trying to trick
He's
guys or
harmless,
something. He's harmless. You know his name's John, though. I thought his name was John.
Why do you bug him?
That's why I thought he was your son. I thought his name was John. No. That was the whole. That's how he got on the show. Do you think we'd have a mediocre blue belt on the show? The only reason I had him on the show, we had.
He's a second-degree blue belt.
You need to start another apology now. We've been slamming Starfish for a few minutes.
We had Sean on here, and we were talking about all the Johns of the gym, and I was like, "Yeah, Starfish." He's like, "His name's Mike." I'm like, "No, his name's John." And I did a whole apology video, and I was like, you asked me, because he asked me, when do you want to have a mediocre blue belt on? And I was just like,
Just call him Starfish. That's his.
I call him Starfish. John, I mean Mike. That's what I call him.
Fish, for short.
Just fish.
So since I've been at Ground Control, I've seen a lot of crazy people come through. But you've been there since '98, right? So what's the craziest Ground Control person that you've seen?
He's like, you're looking.
So recently, I hope that we don't get shot for saying this, but Eric, and you didn't see it. There is a guy.
This was Eddie.
There is a guy.
Stinky.
Is that what you call him?
That's your.
It was stinky. And we talked about buttons on here too.
Yeah.
What about
Stinky
buttons?
and buttons.
Hey, he just wore a button shirt and hurt someone's eye by wearing a button shirt underneath his gi. They're probably one of the. I mean, there were some characters going through there, but like there was a guy, I forget his name, but he was a biker and he was in a motorcycle gang, and he had a Harley and he had the leather and all this shit. And I think it was like some kind. I don't want to.
He come in a leather gi.
I don't want to say what gang he was in or whatever, but he thought he was a real badass. But he was. If you just touched him like that, he'd fall over. He couldn't fight a lick. Well, I found out that he was a bouncer down at this bar, like in Sparrows Point, right? So I and like I don't know why, like I just used to torment the hell out of him, but he goes, well, I'm down here at this bar, and I work here. And I said, really? And I said, well, that's nice to know. He's like, why is that? Because this Friday I'm going to come down there and get drunk as shit and beat the hell out of everybody. I'm going to bust the whole place up, and I'm just going to trash that joint. And he goes, yeah, well, you might be able to beat me up, but there's another guy there that knows a keto, and he's got a. I said, I'll kill all you people. I said, I don't care how many people there are down there. I'm going to focus on you like a laser, and my whole entire mission will be just to kill you. Do you understand? And he's like, I'll shoot you. You know, and like he was so.
Yo, that guy called out that night.
Yeah, he was so sure I was going to do this, and like he was like, I'm just going to call the police. Oh no, I'll bring a gun. And like, I never went down there, but
he called out.
Yeah, he believed it. And
Did he ever show up to the gym again?
At one point, like.
At one point,
like this is when Mark, John was training for MMA, and John. He like right in front of the guy, like he goes to Mark, he goes, I don't know why he's here. He's never going to do this shit. He has no athletic ability whatsoever.
Who?
The biker. He was
saying that to John.
No, John was saying it to Mark.
Oh, really?
Right in front of the biker. He goes, he's never going to make it. And I'm like, oh, all right.
Dang, this guy really had a rough time there.
Well, he didn't. He didn't last.
Well,
so
he also just got murdered in his bar, and
yeah.
It sounds like he might have wet himself after this conversation.
He probably did.
I'm telling you,
he's probably like a Buddhist monk now, like anger management. You're gonna show up and he's Like you bullied me.
He'd be like,
So recently there was a guy that was doing Muay Thai, no shirt on,
like it.
and he had like the chest protector, like for digging in the body, hitting the
body
body. He just was wearing that, trying to do Muay Thai.
Was that like he was gonna wear that for class? Like,
That's what I saw him.
sorry,
in
it wasn't like holding pads.
No, I saw him in the locker room.
And he had black
after-
socks on.
Is that what he always wears? Black socks.
Fashion. I like a good pair of black socks myself. I understand that.
But no shirt, just the
Eddie,
damn.
Why does
thing.
he bother you so much?
I didn't say he bothered me, but I'm just
you
saying.
do.
John made him put on a shirt.
Yeah, we should put on a shirt, but the first time, look at him, what's he doing? I was like, he's not bothering you. What do you give a shit?
He's a
what he's
weird guy.
doing?
Well, I do think it's weird if you're not holding pads to be wearing a belly buster. And that's not a thing to like walk out to class and be like, I'm ready. And get my belly buster on. Like, unless you're like going there to like hold pads.
He's just
like-
a weird dude. But you don't hurt. Why?
I didn't say he
I
hurt
heard
me
it,
at
but
all.
it was just odd.
I was just pointing out
He's
you
never
like to
going
laugh.
to do jujitsu. So
Yeah.
You like to
and also,
you like to laugh at people. You like to like.
Well, hey,
like what
he's not a biker. He doesn't bounce. He's not a Redskins fan. He's cool. He's fine.
yeah, I seen him.
You seen him with his chest protector on?
I know who Stinky is.
Why is he named Stinky?
Because he's stinky.
Why are you picking on him?
Because I don't know his real name.
I don't know his real name either.
Well, then I call him
I'd
Stinky.
rather be Starfish than Stinky, honestly.
Yeah, I think Starfish and Stinky would be a good. We should set up like a cage match.
Well, no, I want him to fight Riley.
Oh yeah,
Is that what you're setting up?
this
Backdoor
is one
fights?
of the females. Yeah,
Fight Club? Yeah. Oh, the females.
At the Christmas party.
at the Christmas party.
Christmas
Is there
party
fights
Fight
at
Club?
the Christmas party?
There were at one time, but
Really? Yeah, I came to the last one late. I didn't get
Missed
to
the
see
fights?
all the. Yeah, I missed the fights.
we had a guy when we were at Boston Street. That's when it was wild. That's when it was crazy. One of the Christmas parties, there was a guy from the Navy there, and like he just kept talking smack to me, like and like he was drunk, and then he just kept like going, "You may beat me, but you'll never break me." And he just kept saying it.
I saw that in a Rambo movie.
Yeah, over and over, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do anything. I don't. Just get the hell away from me, right? Well, Mark was passed out drunk on the bench, and like this guy just kept saying it, and I was like, dude, if I want to break you, I'm going to break you. I'll break you, whatever the hell, So anyway, after him saying that about 10 times, Mark's like eyes popped open. He jumped up, threw him on the ground, like twisted him up in some crazy Aikido thing. And he's like, "Are you breaking? Are you breaking?" And he's like, "Tap, tap." He goes, "No, I don't recognize your tap." And then they end up wrecking the office and smashing this, just busting the place up.
Damn. It looks like anybody got an answer from your son.
I did.
What'd your son say?
He said, "LOL, was he just on the podcast?" I'm asking him if he's available for a call in.
Oh my God!
Talk to him. Let's see. Hold on. This could be
No,
a-
what could he say?
He needs a talking to from dad.
yeah. Let's see.
But also,
Let's see. Let's see.
I like the "You'll never break me" tough guy line. But man,
No, you may. What did he say? You may beat me, but you'll never break me.
it's
That's
a
what
good
it's
tough guy line.
We're recording right now. Would you like to speak to your father?
Tell him to email me.
Yes. Hold on for a second. We're gonna put you on.
Oh my God!
We are now receiving a call in from
You called him?
Starfish, or we have Starfish on the line. Say hello.
Hello.
What are you doing? Playing video games and spanking your monkey?
No, I was just getting mauled by fucking Rob and Tarek and Frank for.
And you're
40
on
minutes.
you're also on the podcast right now. Like you're on.
We're
right now.
recording.
You're recording. This is on the new episode.
I'm a big presence on there.
Yeah.
You are. We talk
You're a
about you a lot.
regular.
I'm a regular. Yeah, you saw me get my ear drained, talk a bunch of shit,
The ear
my
drain.
wacky suit.
I like the wacky suit.
How's
The
my
cat's
How's my
pets.
dad doing over there?
We're surviving.
Did you know about all these Redskins fans? Did you hear about these Redskins fans?
He could be a Redskins fan. He
You're not a Redskins fan, are you, Starfish?
they call him the Commanders now. I'm a Commanders fan.
I'm a fan of whatever John Irwin says I am.
Okay.
That's my sense.
He's your
That's a
daddy.
good question.
Say bye, Daddy. Say bye, Daddy.
Goodbye.
Daddy, I love you. Tuck me in tonight.
I will.
There you go.
Quit spanking your monkey.
That was a great father-son moment.
That was so great. I wish I had that. My father only tells me to, go die and stuff.
Well, your father's your father.
Yeah,
Maybe you stopped wearing Speedos out in public and
Yeah, I know.
dressed.
At least they don't have cats on them like Starfish.
Oh,
Dude, honestly though, if you were wearing,
If I was wearing
Valley Tudo shorts,
the cats,
Valley Tudo
that would
shorts
be a whole different
that rolled
thing
up to
right
a
there.
Speedo that night,
Yeah.
that's the only way that night could get more ridiculous.
So we're about out of time because this thing's ticking down. So, closing statements. This is brought to you by Eddie Dowd Real Estate. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, let the dude fight for you by calling 410-588-6536. Also by the Podcast Lab. If you're looking to record a podcast, record it right here. Ask your questions.
Okay.
And there's three candidates now.
Well, I've changed it now.
No,
we somebody
it's
gets
the
something
same.
different.
It's three candidates, or you might be able to open another party. So
John Irwin's a cultured man.
okay, well he may have a different opinion. So
I've been asking people what celebrity would they vote for president. We had like Kanye, Pete Davidson.
So right now it's
and John
Kanye,
Wick's winning.
Pete Davidson, and Keanu Reeves. But you can add somebody else if you'd like.
what celebrity would I vote? Clint Eastwood.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go. I like Clint.
He's
Eastwood.
old,
you know, man.
Yeah.
but he'd be, if he could live for 4 more years, Clint Eastwood.
Okay. You know, man, I'm throwing Jimmy Buffett in the hat, man.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, we don't. He does not
I
get
feel
enough
like the
respect.
world
As
would
man.
be soft.
His name.
Everybody be drinking
man.
margaritas.
Cheeseburgers in paradise.
They'd be
It's 5
afraid
o'clock
of Clint.
Subway.
Huh?
They'd be afraid of Clint.
He probably would. I feel like Jimmy Buffett was on Epstein's island. I don't have any evidence.
Out for Jimmy.
I don't have any evidence, but I just feel like he was probably like wasted away again in Margaritaville.
Wait, you're saying the original
with a
Margaritaville?
I hope
14-year-old.
he doesn't have to
Are
resort
you saying
to
the
that to
original
get women.
Margaritaville was the island?
What if Margaritaville's really about Epstein Island?
That was way
That's
before.
that's
Epstein.
You heard it. You don't know that? Maybe there's multiple
No, they're about the
Epsteins.
same.
you know, man.
Maybe it's like
I'm
the
going on this
Sith.
point of disbelieving you.
It's like the Sith.
I don't accept. Don't be mean about Jimmy. Love me some Jimmy Buff.
What's your opinion on Jimmy Buffett?
He's harmless. I mean, he's not my cup of tea. He's not
A cup of tea. He's for soft millennials. Did Jimmy Buffett? I know he's not for millennials, but would millennials suck as much as they suck if Jimmy Buffett wasn't a thing?
Why do I say I
he-
like 3 things in life and
has
you rip
he-
them all apart always?
Has Jimmy Buffett contributed to the softness of the world?
Yeah, well, see, when I was in high school, all my bands, Black Sabbath. I liked monster movies, so I like Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper, Blue Oyster Cult, Judas Priest. But the funny thing about Judas Priest is the singer is gay.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
But when I was in high school, I was Judas Priest. Well, my buddy went to a trip. His parents took him to the Bahamas, and he saw Rob Halford making out with a man on the beach. So when he came back, he informed me that Rob Halford was a homosexual. And I'm like, no, he ain't, man. He's cool. he's a rocker, dude. You don't know nothing. He goes, no, I'm telling you, he was with another man on the beach. I was like, all right. I just still didn't accept it.
Yeah.
But it was, for a 16-year-old kid who
It's
had
devastating.
Yeah, it was devastating.
It's like finding out that the politics of a lot of these actors and stuff. Like you think that like they play tough guys, and then you find out that they're a bunch of sissies. Hollywood, you suck.
They're just a bunch of theater nerds.
They are. They're a bunch of sissies.
De Niro.
De Niro too. Yeah, De Niro. Who else?
Just don't put Danny DeVito in there.
Danny DeVito has.
He's the man.
I don't know.
Frank Reynolds is
The
man.
Rock is he like that? I don't know. Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I don't know about him. I'm just don't put Danny DeVito in there, man.
I'm trying to think of who else. DiCaprio.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
I think he just says that to get women, though.
You think?
Yeah.
Because he only goes to the above. What age does he dump him at? What is it, like 26 or something?
I thought it was 30.
Okay, he
He was
doesn't date anyone.
23.
Something like that. And how old is he? He's pushing 50 now, right? I don't know. How old
I
is
don't
he?
know.
I don't know.
I don't follow these people.
Anyway, any final statements? We're about to cut it. It's been over an hour now.
Nope.
All right.
Thanks, you guys, and have a great night.
talk to you guys soon.
Good night.
This has been the Rhino and the Dude with Steve Irwin's brother,
John.
Starfish's dad, John Irwin.
Heatpump.com.
Heatpump.com.
Heatpump.com, baby.
And tell Starfish one more time.
Heatpump.com. Don't spell the dot. It's just a dot.
And quit spanking the. Yeah.
Yeah, the monkey.
Yes, quit with the monkey.
Poor Starfish.
See y'all soon. Starfish, we love you.